Good morning, everybody. You're all very welcome here this morning. My name is Celia Keenahan, and I'm the education mentor here in Cranmore, employed to the ATU. You'll hear a little bit more about what we do and how it's organised later. I'm just going to go through a little bit of housekeeping first of all. So if people could turn off their phones or have them on airplane mode, that would be great. There'll be somebody taking photographs, and we're recording the presentations, so hence the use of mics. I know we probably don't need them in this space, but we thought it would be useful to have this recorded and be able to share aspects of it at a later date. The aim of today really is, I suppose, for us to come together. It's a get-together, as Joey told me. Symposium is a very formal term, so it is really a get-together of people who have an interest in exploring the intersection and the connection between communities and higher education. And that's, I suppose, in the context of access to higher education and widening participation. So we've a nice lineup for you. And to kick us off, we've got a lovely young man from Cranmore who is very active in his community and is also a very active learner. So he is the essence of what we're about here today. So I'm going to hand you over to Joey Jinks.
Hello everyone, my name is Joey Jinks, and today I am going to first of all thank you for coming here. And I'm going to talk about first my college course that I am doing. It's a level 5 in creative digital media. I'm doing it over in Sligo College of Further Education. And it's originally a 1-year program or course, but I'm doing it over 2 years so I can still be involved in the community. My teachers are Michael Slowey and Francis Ryan. They're both great teachers, and you can even go on an Erasmus tour around the world in different countries. I'm enjoying it so far, but if I'm being honest, I wish the assignments had a longer deadline. Next, I would like to talk about what I do in my community. One thing I do locally here in Cranmore is I go down to the men's shed or community gardens sometimes to do a course or whatever with Connie or sometimes the MSLETB who supply them. And one course I've really enjoyed was lantern making with Marie. I actually made a lantern based off the Irish flag for Culture Night. Another thing I do in my community is a games shop / hobby lobby called Serious Business, which I recommend you all go to. They're open from 1 p.m. till 8 p.m. every day. And I often go on a Sunday because it's for Hobby Lobby. And I'm actually working on something which I won't reveal yet. Another place which I highly recommend you go to is called Number 45. It's a hub for everyone to go to. So it's accessible and it's local in my community. It's up in High Street. It's Number 45 High Street beside Zadro's and Harry's Bar. Basically what I do there is art. There's music on Thursday and Friday, which I love doing. And I do a whole bunch of different projects. That's it. Oh yeah. I actually have a song that I would love to show you my dance moves to as a finisher. It's called Don't You Worry by the Black Eyed Peas, which I highly recommend you look up if you like the sample.
You might need people to stand up for this one.
Yeah. You can all join along if you want.
Thanks very much, Joey. I'm now going to invite Linda McGlone from ATU to say a few words.
Thanks, Joey. That's a very hard act to follow. I don't sing, I don't dance. You're all very welcome. My name is Linda McGlone from the Access Office, ATU Sligo. I suppose just to give you a little bit of an idea where this whole project started off, I was a member of the Cranmore Regeneration Education Subcommittee, and there was a lot of ideas floating around about how we could help sort of education in the community. And then a little while later, the Higher Education Authority announced that they had some funding available called Path 3. And luckily that I'd been part of that committee, I was able to go back to the committee and say, well, this funding is for community development and mentoring. Could we work together? Of course, they were delighted, thankfully. And it is a unique project in that it's community-based, community-led, and the Higher Education Institute is a support, so almost in the background. So we're the only project in Ireland where the education mentor is actually based in the community rather than the Higher Education Institute. And I think that's really important. And I think Celia's now going into her 4th year here. A little bit of a blip with COVID in the middle, but it's fantastic and it's very interesting to work on. And just thank you all very much for coming.
Thanks, Linda. And I think that the vision that Linda and that education subgroup had was great in terms of bridging or making the connection stronger between the community and the college. And it was thanks to the Regeneration Project that opportunity was there. So I'd just like to invite Sean Martin to say a couple of words of welcome as well.
You're right. Trying to follow that is just impossible. It's fantastic. A big round of applause again. My height, I have to bring it down. My name is Sean Martin. I'm a senior architect with the Cranmore Regeneration Project. I'm delighted to see such a fantastic turnout today. It proves that the work Celia has been doing since, I think, 2019, right through COVID up to the present day, is bearing fruit. The team at Cranmore in implementing the social dimension and the community dimension of the Regeneration Project has been hugely influential and life-changing for many people. I'm involved in the physical side of it, buildings, etc., but at the heart of the regeneration process is absolutely the community there and the engagement that's taken place within the community. And the approach from Celia and Adele in terms of the educational links to the college, we really welcome those. And within the community itself, and bringing that access to education, which was not there heretofore. So I'd like to welcome you all today, our guest speaker in particular, Gus, you're very welcome to Sligo. And we will kick off, I don't want to delay the programme too much, but we will kick off with the speeches. And thank you, Celia, for organising this today, and the whole team at Cranmore, and everybody, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. So I was lucky at this, when I started this work at the end of 2019, I did a quick search on evidence-based mentoring to make sure I was doing it right. And there was a course happening in Leeuwarden in the Netherlands on evidence-based mentoring for social inclusion. Which was just, basically it was like somebody ran around and got all the information from around the world that I needed at that moment in time and said, here you go. So it was like, thanks very much. So I went over to Leeuwarden and met Gisbert, our next speaker, and became a part of Mentoring Europe, which is, I suppose, an advocacy and research support organisation of mentoring researchers, advocates and practitioners. So Gisbert is very passionate about mentoring, has lots of experience to share with us, and I'd like to really welcome him here to Sligo and thank him for coming, and hand you over.
Are you doing the slides? Yeah. Well, hi, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Celia, and like the other speakers, I think it will be hard to beat Joey. You put the level here. Yeah, it was a great presentation. So I think mine will be a bit more boring. It's without dancing. And hi, nice to meet you. I'm Gisbert Bergsma. Where should I stand? Better? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please. Next slide. So I'm Gisbert Bergsma. I'm from the northern part of the Netherlands. I'm a mentoring practitioner and a community engager for Mentoring Europe. That's the clicker, thanks. And I brought two representatives from our region. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Everybody, I'm Lindsay and I'm a social worker, work with youngsters and families. And I'm excited to meet you. Hi everyone, I'm Lies. I study in Leeuwarden at the campus Friesland, which is part of the University of Groningen. And I'm very happy to be here, to be brought here by Gisbert. Also looking forward to meeting you all and hearing about all this information.
Thank you. So we already talked a little bit to people here in the room. I think you're all very involved with people, which I really like, even with mentoring, so that's great. And well, personally, I found my passion for mentoring to personal experience. When I was in higher education, I studied social work, and I really liked the study, but I have a lot of energy. As you can see, I move around a lot, and social work, it suited me, but it was not, it didn't really tailor to my personal talents. And I got matched in the 4th year with a mentor from a mentoring program, Betty Bijvoets, who's also the founder of Mentoring Europe. And she said to me, well, did you know that you can also become an entrepreneur within the social field, within social care facilities, and develop your own projects? And that sparked my talents. And instead of seeing myself as an ADHD person who couldn't focus, I saw myself as someone with entrepreneurial skills, with new ideas. So that sparked my passion for mentoring, and I started to see myself in a different way, because I could say, okay, I'm Gisbert, I have ADHD, I can not focus so long on one topic. Or I can say I'm Gisbert. I'm very entrepreneurial. I like to do a lot of things at the same time. I like to network. And I think it's very important for young people to see that they have a role model that shows them what their talents are. So long story short, 8 years later, I'm still involved with mentoring. And I'm standing here, and I'm very glad to be here. So that's a little bit about my personal passion. We're from a rural area in the north of the Netherlands. It's similar to Sligo. We have one big capital, it's called Leeuwarden. A lot of young people come from the villages to Leeuwarden to study. We have a university there. It's not always, sometimes there are people who are the first in their family to go to higher education. And having a role model that supports you and even showing you the possibility to go there can make a big difference, maybe the difference. Who recognize these? Do you recognize the pattern of the cows? I saw them here, and I just want to know these are Frisian cows from our region. So a little bit about Mentoring Europe. As Celia told, we're a grassroots initiative of mentoring practitioners and researchers. There are a lot of programs around Europe, and there's a lot of knowledge in these programs. And from Mentoring Europe, we wanted to bring this together and share knowledge, powerful stories. Storytelling and mentoring is very important. And we aim to improve the mentoring field in Europe. We work together with the USA. There's also an American Center for Evidence-Based Mentoring, and they do a lot of research, and we narrowly collaborate to improve the field. What you see here is the European Mentoring Summit. See, you were at the summit too, right? And practitioners and researchers from all over the world gather once every 2 years to share knowledge, to have workshops. This is she's from Spain. It's all mentoring practitioners from all over the world. So what is the power of mentoring? Mentoring for me, well, as I shared my personal story, it's very tailored to everybody's unique needs. So you are matched based on your individual learning question. And I think that's what makes it powerful. If someone is matched with someone who went through a similar experience or has a child who went through it, you really acknowledge and recognize what the person's standing and is going through. Mentees discover new possibilities because, as I said before, if you're unaware of the options that are there, for me it was being an entrepreneur in a social environment, then you can't choose it. So mentors can help young people discover new possibilities and see the talents within themselves where they may be unaware of before. And this is a very important one. It's independent of the life phase. For example, I can be in a 4th year of higher education and transition to my first job. A mentor can be there for me in the phase, independently of if I'm in school or not. Or on the other side, where we're here for today, if you want to access higher education, you can be matched with a mentor on the entry side, and someone can prepare you. For example, there are mentoring programs that help students transfer from VET to higher education, and we match students from higher education with VET students who went through that step because they know what is different. Maybe a lot more theory and you need to study in a different way. But if you have a supportive role model there who can help you in that transition, that can make a big difference. And also in preparation for the next step, it can also be to enter the labor market, to enter a new education. I'm going through it at ADHD speed again, sorry. So a little bit about the European mentoring field. It has a history of 25 years, but we see a big growth in the last 10 years. There's a lot of programs, new programs, a lot of collaboration, so the mentoring field is really growing. It's an important tool. People feel and see that it's important. And in Germany, there are a lot of programs revolved around migration because since 2015, a lot of Syrian and Eritrean refugees came to Germany. So there were a lot of programs around that in Germany. In Bulgaria, there's no tradition of volunteering. In our country, in the Netherlands, people often do voluntary work. I don't know how it is in Ireland. Same? Yeah. So, but in Bulgaria, there's no tradition of that, but they do have mentoring programs, and they're starting to give that a place, and it's really working well. Who knows about the Macron campaign? One mentor, one youth. Yeah, okay. So Macron actually launched a campaign, and it's called One Mentor, One Youth. And he embraces the mentoring mission, and he wants to offer every mentor or every youngster a mentor. And it's a big pillar of his campaign. This is a program. It's a program about unaccompanied adult minors, mentoring. So mentoring is very broad. It can be school-based, can be a mentoring program based within a school, where the teachers match the youngsters, but it can also be a community-based mentoring program where we work together with social care facilities. It can be religion-based. You see mentoring programs within churches, mosques, and it can be business-based within businesses. And there are all sorts of collaborations and in-between variations. Here are some social challenges mentoring can be engaged for. So inclusion and diversity, preventing dropouts, female leadership, entrepreneurship, prevent alcohol abuse among youth. It's very diverse, and mentoring is a tool that can be used in a wide range of social topics. So, as I said before, I'm a mentoring practitioner. I actually make the matches too, and I talk to programs from Europe, and I selected some of the best practices that I think that I've seen that have worked in the last 10 years. It's important to make not just one-to-one matches, but to organize a community and activities around the mentoring. The mentors as well as the mentees need to have the feeling that they are part of something and not just a conversation once every month. So it's important to make mentors and mentees feel part of a community. Keep your mentees and mentors close. It's very important that they feel part of a program. And this is very important. Involve mentees and mentors in every aspect of your program. So these are all best practices from other European organizations, and they put them down. Why do I say this? Well, a lot of programs are made top-down. Luckily, we see a big change, and I've noticed that here too. You all work from the bottom up. But if you want to build a mentoring program, start talking to the people that it's about. So the youngsters and the mentors. What do the youngsters want? How do they see it? And the answers might surprise you. And starting this way, make sure that it's tailored to the needs of your group. And you can't say, okay, this is a model for a mentoring program. We're going to put it down here and it works. No, talk to the people that it's about. Share stories. Well, I mentioned it before. It's so important to share stories. And you could feel it with Joey's story. If someone shares from personal experience, that is one, bam, that makes an impact. Well, you can read, but I would consider, we actually have a booklet with all best practices, and you can read them, but the most important one is to tailor it to the individual needs of your participants. Creating a mentoring-rich environment. I think I'm going to skip to this one because this is an example of it. What you see here is one of our mentors, Hans Doodkorte. He's a 72-year-old man, and he's a really good mentor, but he's also a really good speaker. What you see here is an entrepreneur. This is his restaurant. He works with young people with disabilities. And what you see here is a mix of young people who go to school and young people who are needs, who are not going to school. And they all come together. Hans is a mentor for young people who go to school. Hans is a mentor for needs. And this is a mentoring program in collaboration with the social care facilities in the north of the Netherlands, but also with the schools. And it was so powerful to just bring them together because the people who don't go to school get to talk to students of all different kinds of education. People who go to school can share their stories. So it's to create such an environment in which young people can learn from each other, can learn from mentors. And for Hans, he's a pensionado for almost 7 years. But for him to be able to share his experience, it makes a great, powerful environment. So now I go back to my previous slide. What you see is that mentoring is a community of role models that inspire young people, but also each other. And you can do that within the community. You can involve entrepreneurs, you can involve youngsters, you can involve mentoring goes over boundaries. What you see here is a school-based mentoring program from the north of the Netherlands. This is Gerli. He's also been involved in our mentoring program for 20 years, and he's talking to a student of higher education. And he actually goes to the school often, but he also invites them in his own business to talk about it. So, Celia, do you want to share a little bit about next week our Brussels event, or do you want me? Yeah. So mentoring, what I want to conclude with, mentoring is a key instrument in development of young people's life in different stages. It can be when you enter higher education, when you exit higher education, when you transition from one school to another, when you start your first job. Mentoring is about people, bringing people together and offering the opportunity to learn from each other. And mentors learn just as much from the mentoring program as the mentees do. Next week, we actually have it's a symposium, I think, in Brussels, in the European Parliament about mentoring, and they endorse mentoring. Celia, you will be there too, right? Yeah. Can you share a bit more about the Brussels Symposium?
Will do.
Yep.
Yeah, so as part of Mentoring Europe, there's a small group of us on an advocacy committee to promote and get support for mentoring at lots of different levels. And you mentioned the French MEP Alana Circuel, who is very passionate about mentoring and has the support of their government, who have invested, was it 40 million
I think
a
so.
year in mentoring programs, which is amazing. So she has invited us to present to MEPs and the Commissioner for Education and a number of other people who need to hear these things in order for programs to be supported. So we're going over there, and Lisa Wallace is going to come with me to make sure that I'm keep it right, and we can talk a bit more about that. So yeah, we'll share the information on how we get on.
Thanks.
So don't sit down just yet, Gisbert, until you get a nice round of applause from everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you, Tina. I think that was a lovely way to end Gisbert's session, and to thank him.